So, Chris,
Hmm?
Spagelephant? Really?
It's the best I could come up with.
It's pretty good.
Oh,
Oh,
hi. Hello,
hi
everybody.
everyone.
Welcome back to the Art is Alive interview series. Today, I have a very special guest. She is all the way from UCF. She is my old theater professor, Professor Elizabeth Horn.
Hi everyone.
Elizabeth,
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
me, Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. So, could you give us a little bit of your background and how you got started with teaching theater?
Sure. Well, I am an associate professor of theater for young audiences here at UCF, and I got my BFA in musical theater, and then I came here to get my master's in theater for young audiences. That was a shift for me from being a performer to being an educator and director. And so I was a high school theater teacher for 6 years before coming back to UCF as faculty and have been here for 9 years now.
Awesome. We love to hear it. So you mentioned TYA, and for those that don't know, I actually had two TYA classes with Elizabeth. She did such an amazing job leading the team to bring joy to children in, was it Arnold Palmer and Namor's Children's
Nemours and
Hospital?
Advent Health. Yeah, we went to 3 children's hospitals.
Yeah. And one of the topics we touched upon that really sticks with me to this day is the day we came in. It was the class with Louisa and Emily and Hannah and all them. And we played tag. We just came in and we played tag. And we talked about the importance of play. And I actually touched upon this with a previous guest, Ashley, about like, protecting your inner child. So can you speak to me a little bit on the importance of play?
Yeah. So I specialize, as you said, in theater for young audiences, which people define different ways, but I'm generally looking at I do theater for as young as birth up through university students, 18 to 22 years old. With the work that I do in the Children's Hospital program, we do talk quite a bit about play because if you think about a child who has been in a hospital, especially those who are long term patients, like we might think about their illness or their injury. That might be the first thing that we think of is their condition, but they are first and foremost children,
Yeah.
right? And they just want to be kids, they want to play. And we all experience childhood, and some of us have play nurtured throughout our childhood. Some of us, because of our upbringing or because of different traumatic experiences that we have, we have that urge to play is kind of squashed. And at some point, we all have to learn how to, put on our big kid pants
Our,
and
our be adults and
right, the whole
work the nine to
adulting
fives.
thing, right?
Yeah.
But we all have that instinct inside of us, and I think it's important for everyone to tap into, but especially artists who are then, who have what I consider to be an immense responsibility of working with children and working with children who might have less access to play, right? So kids
Yeah.
in hospitals, they might not get to go outside as much. They might be isolated from their peers. They might have, their mobility might be restricted in different ways. Sorry, that
No,
was my
you're good.
computer. Um, so we do a lot of play, and so my class in the fall latched onto that idea of play so much so that after our final exam, I even asked them. I was like, "Do you want me to just keep the classroom open and you all can like bring some stuff to play?" And they brought board games and cards and video games, and I think somebody did some coloring. Like they brought so many different ways. And final exams are so stressful for college students. I hope that they'll remember that for the rest of their lives, that they had at
Yeah.
least one kooky teacher who was like, hey, like, you could probably use a little bit of play right now.
It
Or if you
pers-
want to nap in
yeah.
the corner, that's okay too.
Personally speaking, the two classes I took of yours were some of my favorites just because
Thank you.
you did a great job leading everyone and you had such an awesome syllabus, by the way. It was like color coded and all that. But it showed you really gave a shit and you wanted us to grow and just learn the importance of being young artists that are going out into the world. And it gave me like a new appreciation for theater. I wanted to pursue it back when I was in my early days of college, and I was like, it just felt so selfish. Like I was only there for the applause, and you know, you get into this hustle mentality. But through TYA, I was able to rekindle something in me that I felt was lost. It was just bringing joy to one child, and to see everyone in class like sort of be one collective unit was I don't know, it was magical. So thank you for that.
I really appreciate you saying that. And those classes, I mean, they're always really special classes. And your groups, I mean, we're just awesome groups of students, and you contributed so much. So thank you for being a part of that classroom culture, because it's really all of us coming together. But I'm really struck by what you said, and it's a lot of why I feel so grateful to do what I do, because I went on a similar journey. I was a BFA in musical theater, and I really wanted to be a performer. I remember my high school teacher saying that I would make a really great educator, and I was like, "Don't limit me in that way, no." And I still, I loved performing, but it does, for me. I also had that experience of like, wow, I'm like really in my head. It's all about me, which is actually like not what a good performer is, right? Like a
Yeah.
good performer should be thinking about the ensemble and thinking about their scene partner, right? Like it's not about you. It's about this story that you're, especially for theater artists, so much of what we do is collaborative. So it's about this story that we're creating, and then that final missing piece is the audience that we're inviting to engage in that exchange together. But I was also caught up in that, so that was what had me, shift to education and thinking about directing. And then as a high school educator, I had good intentions, but same thing, I got really competitive. I
Yeah.
got caught up in all of the awards and all of the
The
accolades.
clout and the and then
Exactly.
vice versa, the rejection, the putting yourself out there in rehearsals or in auditions and then being like, "Oh, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
audition." And
yeah. So then I came here to UCF as a faculty member, and honestly, it could have been the same thing all over again,
yeah.
because especially because I was earning tenure, and with earning tenure, it's all about you demonstrating your worth and proving how productive you've been. And like, honestly, capitalism is everywhere, right? And so it's in higher ed too, right? So just with like, how do I get tenure? Because I need to get tenure, but I want my experience in earning tenure to be heart centered and student centered. And I want it to feel authentic to me. So that was when I started gravitating towards more and more of this community based work, working in spaces like the children's hospitals. And I've also created theater with senior citizens and folks with disabilities. It's kind of a spin on the idea of young
Yeah.
audiences, as somebody who hasn't been on stage before, regardless of what stage of life they're in, creating work related to social justice issues. Like the more and more of that I started doing, the more that I was like, it's not about me anymore. It's so much bigger than me,
Yeah.
right? It's
It
happening
was a
on a.
great reminder that theater is a collaborative and community based process.
Yes,
And
it's happening on a universal
yeah.
level. And my hope would be that regardless of what my students do in theater or elsewhere, because of the experiences that they've had in my class, I'll help them to see the humanity in themselves and the humanity in all of us.
Yeah. Not even just like theater skills. This is just skills you need like in life, just basic human compassion.
How to be a human.
Exactly.
Yes. How to exist on this earth and recognize we're part of this earth, right?
That's so funny. Your earlier response about why you shifted from a performer to a professors, because that was my question, was what made you want to shift to
Check. I
performer?
answered that.
Okay, so I'll wrap up with the final question. What's one piece of advice you would want to give to, say, the college student that's graduating, has already graduated, or just someone who's going through a transitional period in their life? What would you want to tell them?
Oh, yeah. It's funny. I feel I'm advice is hard to give because we're all on our individual journeys, and that's like literally a part of my job, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
advising,
Ah,
right? But we're all going to travel our own paths, and I'm getting up there. What it looks like when I finished college is going to be different for how it looks for you folks. So I think that authenticity piece is really important, right? Because at the end of the day, like, it's going to be about, like, are you proud, right? Are you proud of what you've done? Did it feel true to you? Do you feel like you made a difference? Um, and that's going to look different for everyone, right? Because we think a lot about our careers, but the fact of the matter is, like, you can make a difference in a lot of ways in your life. You can be an artist in a lot of ways in your life. Like, you will always be an artist, no matter what you do, right? Um, so I think just make sure that what you're doing is true to you. And I guess to return to that idea of your inner child, like, your inner child was so wise and knew a lot about who you are, about what energizes you, about what feels secure for you.
right.
And so just recognize that inner wisdom, and yeah, don't be afraid to start. Don't be afraid to create, to try something new.
Oh, I got goosebumpies listening to that, actually. Like, I can imagine, like, a dramatic zoom in as you gave that.
Yeah, put that in there.
Yeah, yeah, I could.
Oh,
Sorry, I added lower thirds in that moment.
oh,
Sorry. Get out of here. Before we wrap,
sure.
I spy Talami up there. Can you show us Talami, what he's
Yeah,
been up to?
sure. So this is our friend Talami, and Talami uh, is one of the characters that. Let me see if he wants to talk today.
That was from the imagination of one of our friends from, oh gosh, I don't remember. I think it was Namor's.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hi everyone, I'm here. But Talami grew out of our class last fall when we worked with patients at Nemours to come up with some ideas for some food animals. Huh? What are you calling me? Yeah, food animals. Ah. So Talami is part turtle, part salami, and made a wonderful appearance in our production in the spring. So we used those kids' ideas to come up with the ideas for our show.
Spagelephant couldn't join us. He's burning in the gates of hell right now.
Oh, Spagelephant!
I am the creator of that unholy monster, so
We love Spagelephant.
yeah, we
We
do.
loved all of our
He's
animal
he's a
friends.
champ. I appreciate us just sitting down and sort of like reflecting on the past, as
Yeah.
these are times that I'm gonna remember for as long as I shall live. So
Oh, well,
thank you
thank
so
you so
much.
much. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. And I think it's great what you're doing just to increase awareness of all of the different ways that artists are out there creating. And you are certainly a driven artist yourself, and can't wait to see where you go beyond your time at UCF.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Long live Spagelephant and Talami.
Yeah.
Until next time, guys. Thank you.
Wow, good job.
Hey, that was
Nice. That
fun.
was
You did a
awesome.
great job with the interview.